our aim of spreading safety awareness. Tatak Pinoy, loud and proud, brings you Safety Talk. It's a weekly live segment hosted by Kabayan Rico. Safety Talk, providing additional knowledge in the field of health and safety with competent guests giving insights to build a hazard-free workplace. Safety Talk from Tatak Pinoy, loud and proud, hosted by Kabayan Rico. Accidents in the workplace happen because of the three factors: unsafe act, unsafe condition, and attitude of the workers. Now, if we can take care of the three, we can build a hazard-free workplace. That is the main reason why we need to have a precautionary measure, and every time we start an activity, we must have a toolbox talk. Magandang gabi mga kababayan. Welcome back to Safety Talk with Kabayan Rico here on Tatak Pinoy, loud and proud. This is our third episode, and tonight, joining us is a competent person as far as health and safety is concerned. The Senior Occupational Health and Safety Inspector of Dubai Municipality with 20 years experience in the field of health and safety across his name. Looking young, looking free, looking single, but not anymore. He is already taken. I am talking about my good friend, Michael James Rojas. Bro, magandang gabi dyan.
Hello, good evening, bro. Pleasure to be here, and good evening to all the
Batiin
viewers.
mo muna yung mga nanonood sa atin.
Apo. Marahay na banggi sa Indoga, boss. Greet you in Bicol, no? So, it's been a pleasure to be here, bro.
You know, your presence tonight is a good news for our friends. Ang dami nating mga kaibigan belonging to the different safety organizations here in the United Arab Emirates. So we would like to greet all the safety officers and HSE practitioners any part of the globe. Kahit man saang panig ng mundo, meron tayong mga Filipino health and safety practitioners. At ito, pag makita ito ng iba, they will share this segment para maging competent naman yung iba na deprived of the opportunity to attend trainings. Kaya nga ito yung pagkakataon nilang matuto dahil andito ka.
Siguro competence, bro, is a matter of the years of experience we had over the last 20 years. Then,
Grabe. Oo.
Siguro yung mga accidents din.
Yun ang dahilan kaya malaki ang sahod mo?
Praise God, okay naman.
Alam mo bro, we are actually encouraging people to read on a regular basis, watch video on a regular basis, and especially here on Safety Talk, we encourage people to watch every segment for us to be competitive and to sharpen the saw. Kasi importante kasi in the field of health and safety, dapat magpapakita ka ng gilas, di ba? You need to be not only good, but you need to be better and best para matanggap sa trabaho. Kasi ang daming kompetensya. Not only Filipinos, but we are actually competing with other nationalities. Now, for us to be accepted for the job that we truly desire, kasi ang laki ng sahod, no? Health and safety, ang laki ng sahod. Kaya ito yung advantage. And tonight, we are lucky because joining us na magbibigay ng liwanag at will share his expertise and his knowledge on work at heights ay magagamit talaga natin sa trabaho natin. Kaya mga kababayan kong safety officer, this is your opportunity to learn insights from a competent person. Work at heights. Ang dami nating narinig na work at heights. Yung iba kasi work at heights. Yun, lalo na yung baguhan ng health and safety, hindi talaga nila alam kung ano yung mga activity regarding work at heights. Pero umpisahan muna natin, bro, no, for the information of the newcomers or yung mga baguhan sa health and safety. Ano nga ba yung tinatawag natin na work at heights?
Actually, bro, it's very self-explanatory na, no? It's any work related to or having the risk of somebody causing to fall and suffering personal injury is categorized as work at heights, no? Any work at height, you will be working at height if you work above ground level. You could fall from edge, fall through a opening or a fragile hole, no, or surface, or you can fall. Say, for example, when you're going down the track, no, the horse of the track, you can easily fall on the surface, and you might have an injury. So siguro with all those mentioned, I had experienced accidents with just simple, uh, going down the ladder, ascending or descending a ladder.
Bro, ano ba talaga yung minimum height, no, para matawag natin na a person is really working at heights?
Actually, initially 6 feet, no, or 1.8 meters as per OSHA guidelines, no. But tinanggal na nila yun kasi one can work like, say, for example, on top of the table or on top of the chair, and then he eventually fall and suffered tremendous fracture on the spine or on the cervical spine, which will render him vegetable na. So it doesn't matter. In fact, we used to say it's better you fall from more than 6 meters, because for sure you die, than to fall on a just minimal height, and then you have a broken pelvis, which could be subject for major operation. So doesn't say,
Bro, may mga baguhan kasi tayo mga safety officers, no? Ngayon, especially that more and more Filipinos, and not only Filipinos but other nationalities as well, enrolling in the different safety course. Kasi ang daming mga ino-offer, lalo na yung kaibigan natin na si Anthony na sa OSIC in Abu Dhabi, di ba? Marami silang mga courses na ino-offer. So, ang daming mga bagong safety officer. Pag sabihin natin na work at heights, uy, sa taas talaga yan kasi heights No, pero for the information of those mga baguhan talaga, can you enumerate what are the activities that are considered work at heights?
Marami, bro. Like working at ground level. Say, for example, you can fall into an excavation, diba? Working on formwork, and like, say, for example, working on a scaffolding or erecting a false work. Usually, then working on the roof, and simply working on a ladder, can be considered already as working at heights. Yung mga A-ladder natin, and then yung mga straight ladders. So, working on near adjacent or fragile materials, So, yung mga, di ba, malalambot na roof. So, yun, it could cause severe injuries. In fact, it's one of the biggest killers sa construction industry where I was working with before.
The number one hazard of working at heights is, of course, falling from heights. No, but what are the other hazards, bro, associated with working at heights?
Actually, I can say it's going kind of like outside of the context, no? Actually, one of the greatest hazards in the workplace is you have a management who doesn't care, or yung hami-hami sila, and then they want to get things done, and then really for work at heights, it's falling, So you end up battling with people who are in a hurry to get things done, to get the job done, management pressure and all. So I believe, especially with the pressure on the construction personnel, it's one of the biggest hazard that people don't look into. How you will encourage management to work and agree with you. As a safety guy, it's an ordeal. The management wants to get things done, and then you end up like you might even cry because you be pushed away and neglected. Hindi sila sumusunod. So it's one of the challenges, really.
That's really the general overview. Um, Based on the definition of hazard as anything that has the potential to cause harm to the workers, to the equipment and machine, ano pa ba yung ibang hazards na ma-associate natin sa work at heights? Yung iba.
Actually, actually, ang dami eh. Kaya nga it's so important that we will be able to identify uh, the hidden hazards, and then the hazards in front of you. Kasi most of the time nanineglect na ng mga construction supervision management because they don't look at the safety hazards, because they are focused on the progress, on the milestones. So really, it's a big challenge. How you will assess the risk if you cannot identify the hazards? Like, you have a management issue, so people taking shortcuts na, and then it's really a challenge, so far, in my experience, especially when we had a fatality in one of the construction sites that I worked on, especially after that fatality, people tend to listen to us now. And then it awakens them, because really it sends chill to your bones to see a guy bleeding.
Yun talaga ang mahirap, especially um, every activity normally before we start, meron talagang toolbox talk, no? But in spite of the fact na you conducted toolbox talk and you signed all those people, you let them sign that they attended the toolbox talk, meron pa rin mga pangyayari kasi they failed to identify the other hazards like the fragile surfaces, sharp edges on the structure, moving vehicles, people working above, weather conditions, which is very important, ground conditions. We also have the unprotected edges, proximity of the other utility services, proximity of large bodies of water, falling objects, and of course, tools. Pero nangyayari pa rin yung mga activity even if they identify those hazards. Pero it boils down to a competent person working at heights, bro. Ano ba talaga yung considered a competent person when it comes to working at heights?
Actually, just like in the military, no, and when I was working in offshore, we train everybody with all the necessary training as per the training matrix required by the client or the major stakeholders in the company. So you need to ensure that your men are battle ready, and they are aware, they are trained, especially like when we were in Nigeria in ExxonMobil. We have a program there, 100% full protection. You cannot all of the safety harnesses are having a double lanyard, no? So especially when you go out na on the handrail, and then that's the time that you have to have 100% full protection. So training is the key, and management commitment to avoid these hazards.
it's really very difficult because yun nga eh, kasi kung yung management, if they are not really keen on protecting the lives of the people, kaya nga the ayun lang. Ganyan lang kasi sila.
Bro,
Hello, bro. Yeah, can you hear
paki-repeat.
me now?
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah, yeah.
okay.
I think we have a problem with a signal here. So I would like to reiterate again because I discussed earlier the hazards of work at heights, and we can prevent that if we can identify the hazard and assess the risk as well. Can you discuss the hierarchy of control measure when it comes to working at heights?
Remember yung lagi natin na inaano no, yung Eric PD, eliminate, reduce, isolate, control, and then PPE and discipline. Ano? As much as possible, avoid the work at height. Ano? So eliminate mo yon. So if you can assemble the lot on the ground at a lower height before you put it up, it would be much easier. Just like when we were in ADNOC, no, when we are to erect the reactor at 100 meters above using a crane, no. So it's better for you to assemble the last piece on the ground rather than taking it one by one on the top, no. So yun. Um, Secondly, yun na nga, saan papasok to? Sa discipline, ano? So, siguro, people are trained on the work at heights, meaning they should know what they are doing and they are safety conscious, and then they know what can happen to them, and then they accept, the risk, and then they protect themselves. So, then PPE, no? What are the safety system of work that you can employ on the workplace? Not substandard PPE, but the standard full body harnesses and lifelines. That is constantly or regularly inspected prior to carrying out the job, no. So, as an employer, it's the duty of the employer to ensure that, like, if they will use a mobile elevated work platform, have to ensure that it's regularly maintained and it has a third party inspection certificate, And prior to use, all of the personnel must know how to operate and where to attach the harnesses, or if they can attach it up to the highest point, secure point, much better. Um, then again, the last normally this has been the favorite of safety personnel, PPE. Always provide PPE. It's like you give them bulletproof or gas mask. So uh, but even if you have given them the PPE, you should ensure that you train them how to use it, and then monitor that they fully comply with what you tell them and what they say they will do. And then lastly, especially it's critical, like erection of tower cranes, and then it will be at a very high level now, so you have to see to it that you monitor weather conditions, if there what's and first of all you should check what's the policy of the company. Are we going to stop at certain wind speed, this and that, no? And lastly, you have to plan for emergencies. And siguro people will I experienced this when I saw somebody at 120-meter height hanging on
That's high.
on the harness. He ducked when the still structure was about to hit him, and then he was hooked on the beam. He was tied on the beam, and then that was the first time that I saw a guy saved by a harness. So imagine now I have to climb at 120-meter height, and there is an emergency, and see the adrenaline, and it's month of July or August with that temperature. Really, thank God that the South African supervisor was there, and then he immediately rescued the guy using a ladder, but he was shaking. By the time you will reach halfway of the reactor, I mean, sabi ko nga, pahinga muna ako kasi baka ako pa yung rescue susunod eh. So, these kind of things, no? I also worked on inside a vessel. It's a reactor also, almost 100-meter din yung height. And then and the only access is on the top, no? And we have to descend using a rope ladder. Yung kita natin na parang akala nyo madali. You think it's easy to go down, or you think that, especially if it's not secured on the ground and you will be the first one to come down. And what scares me a lot in that particular work is that the what you call this one, the steps which is tied, which is secured only by abaka, or is almost gonna come off, and you will end up you'll end up just holding onto the onto the two ropes that you have with you. So with that, we have backup a lifeline when you will descend on that. So imagine, like, if this is the vessel, no, you have to start work here. As they fill it up with that makes it easy. But on the first stance, where you have to enter here and then go down at 100 meters, and it's a confined space. Oh my God! And you're gonna be up there. Maybe you will need chopper to rescue. So these are the things that, as management, people must sit and plan what are the things that are necessary, have the necessary controls in place, like putting up a work permit system, like putting the handrails, or when you have to remove the barrier, you have to have a work permit, because it's not easy. And then people think that, okay, it's just like a cover of the elevator lift shaft. And then what if somebody just removes the barrier, no? So you have to put up a stringent control measures to control entry, and because it will protect you. We have an incident one day in Mirdip City Center where a guy fell to his death from the second floor, and the elevator lift shaft opening has a barrier. He removed the barrier, and then we don't know what he did there or what was he doing there, because there's no instruction to work there nor to go there. Then people just you will just they I was in the head office for the safety managers meeting, and then you receive a call, and then when you investigate, you will hear people like they heard somebody fall, and then when they saw, everybody start to shout now, you know. So you have to prepare for eventualities, kasi if you are now, especially here in Dubai, if there is a dead body, you will be liable for subjected to jail and prosecution, attending court cases, which is very, very traumatic on the part of the safety guy, considering that he has done a lot, you know. But in Dubai, it's a normal, it's a standard operating procedure, because like if somebody falls down and it's dead, it's already like a failure of management. So these are the things that, as a safety practitioner, you should be ready. And then not only that, you train and then let them sign, because if already you have an accident, there's no turning back.
With the examples that you gave, we really can tell that the IITS is really very important. You know, the instruction, you know, training and
Instruction,
supervision. That is
information, training, supervision.
the good thing if you have that in place, IITS. And you mentioned also the PPA. It's not really. Uh, Remember that PPE is the last resort because it will only protect the wearer but it won't eliminate the hazard at all. So, yun ang dapat talagang isipin ng mga safety officers, bro. When it comes to working at heights, how can we really stop people from falling from working at heights? Paano ba talaga yan para we can avoid?
Actually, if you have safe system of work, just like people don't realize, like a safe scaffolding is already a engineering controls, and when you use like MEWP or rapid access, that's part of like engineering controls already, and then using a man basket, and then you have to ensure that the crane is third party inspected, and have to not only certify or inspect it yearly but biannually. And the stringent control measures should be there, like checking all the hydraulic system in place, you know. And you need to have a backup lifeline apart from what they have, you know. Just like say for example, you see those rope access workers, no? Maybe you think it's only one rope. No, they have another backup, and in fact there's another one more lifeline that is ready available, because when we were working in Dubai International Airport, Concourse 3, we were trained how to conduct rescue, how to do rappelling, and then the lot. So from there, I realized that it's not only the descending rope that you use, but you should have another backup in case the descending rope, the rope that you descend fails. So yun. Again, it boils down to management commitment, and then with that encompasses competent supervision. So having somebody monitor these boys working is already a significance that management is committed, and you don't provide substandard PPE, especially when it comes to work at heights. There's no compromise.
Bro, we'd like to greet those who are watching us today. Lourdes Entrera is watching. Brian Gadula, Illumination 77. Amsidel Maricel. Oh. And MJ De Guzman is watching. Also, Teresa Binghay, the author of Coming Down from the Lockdown. The book is also watching. Yeah, the book is now available here in Dubai. Bro, you're talking about protecting people, but what about the falling objects? What are we going to do to avoid being hit with the falling objects?
Okay, I've seen a lot also with with that, and I've seen people who are really having the scars on their head. No, sometimes it's difficult. Provided like if they are assembling or erecting scaffold, normally they will have a toolbox or a rope where you will use the to take the material from down, and then have to make ensure that on a scaffolding or on a working platform you have to have toe boards. So these are the things that you should always have to have, and then ensure that like on the scaffolding there's no gap at all, because as a safety practitioner, always expect that something will happen, no matter how much vigilant you are, or how much stringent your management is when it comes to safety. But it's always there's unlucky day.
Bro, can you explain to us this thing called work restraint or work positioning system?
Okay, yung work restraints or work positioning system kasi, normally like when you are working on the roof, then you will have a lifeline, and then I had an experience that you will have like a rope grab, and then you will be attached to that. Siguro, have you seen those lads in the yung mountain climbing, or dun sa ano bang mall yan dyan sa sa Alcus? There is a when the kids go up, there's a rope grab that they have. So once it feels like a jerk, it will immediately lock down. And then I had experience where it's a very strict site that I've been when I was in Saudi, like on a ladder system, on a ladder, especially on the reactor. It happens. They normally put that one on the high, very high elevation already. So you will be attached onto. You're wearing a harness, then you will be attached on that self restraint system. Okay, and then when in case of the slip while climbing the ladder, you don't go anywhere. You stay there. So so many uh, systems that are available. Normally, it depends on the need where they put that one, and what orientation the company has. So uh, just like if you see in McDonald's, no simple ladder, they have like a signboard there, and it has a sign saying that, and it's locked. You cannot go up on the on the staircase, no. So these are the kinds of awareness or commitment that you will see with especially multinational companies who experienced accidents, or a lot of accidents. That's the reason why they end up being very strict, and then very safety conscious. It's difficult because it costs money. All these systems will cost money. So how you will encourage management is a style that you need to have, because normally they will say kaliwali, not needed. But once you explain to them, and once they had previous accidents from previous sites, then you will surely have backup from the management. That's it.
Bro, before we'll continue, I'd like to inform them that they can get for free a copy of my book, The 12 Habits of Highly Successful OFWs. I will give you a PDF copy. I will email it to you. What you will do is just to follow the Tatak Pinoy Loud and Proud Facebook page and message me. Give me your email address and I will send you a PDF copy. This is not only intended for OFWs, but every Filipino should read this book if you want to change your life. And I'd like to invite you to also read The Smile Across the Miles by Minette Javier, a frontliner here in Dubai, working as a nurse, coming down from the lockdown. This is a book written by Teresa Binghay, and my book, The 12 Habits. And for those who are planning to venture into the stock market, Piso Master by Lyndon Magsino. It's available here in Dubai. Now, bro, back to our discussion. Can you let us know what are the different fall protection equipment that every safety officer should know?
Okay. Normally, the most familiar full body harness, still you will find people like using safety belt. It has been banned already by OSHA way back 1998, and then you will have like anchorage system, guardrail system, the shock absorber, okay, and then warning line system, connectors, and the lifeline. Yung sa lifeline, bale may regulation siya. You need to have it inspected and tested, load tested as well. The self-retracting lifeline or lanyard, snap hooks, marami. And then really it boils down to discipline, how you people will have to make sure that this uh, what I say from the mountains of Bangladesh or India comply. Because you see, some of them are just like trained over here, and this is the first time that they saw a harness and like a safety shoes, and so many things. I mean, it has become a standard operating procedure for us that after safety induction, we have to train with work at heights.
Since
So
you since you mentioned the word harness, bro, no, at what height do I need to have a harness?
OSHA regs says around 1.8 meters. So there are companies that says, or depends on the company policy. Some says 2 meters, and then you have to anchor it above. Kasi you will end up like, okay, you need to calculate the length of the lanyard plus when the absorber opens up. So it's very like a stupid thing to do, that you hook it below. So you need to hook it on the top.
In every activity, like any work at heights activity, bro, there are instances wherein we are obliged to use a ladder, right?
Yeah.
So, what are the occasions that we can use a ladder?
Actually, only the short, like a quick work, no. um, I You need to train also your worker how to uh, climb a ladder. It sounds silly, yeah? But one day I was asked, when we had an accident of a guy, a welder. He was climbing up the ladder, and a filler wire on the other hand, and then on the other hand is helmet, his welding helmet, and then he did not maintain 3 point contact. So I keep on reiterating this, that people should make sure that the hands are free, and then you have to have like 2 feet on the lad step, and then one on the other one, because I had an accident at around the three rung height, and then he fall on a uneven surface, so it fractured the uh, the femur, Okay, so you it's almost at the ball of the near the pelvis. So imagine, man, that with that height only, you have a broken bone, and then here comes the safety manager. Ask me, did you train them how to climb the ladder? I, I even said to them, you don't need to train him. So, guys, my bit of advice, even that very simple and very basic, like even like on a ladder, people overreaching, away from the center, you will have a fall.
Since you mentioned 3 point of contact, bro, do I need to have 2 feet and one hand on a step ladder at all times when carrying
Yes,
out task?
yes, you need to. Because if you don't do that, if you slip, and then what will you hold? It even became a debate one day in one of the sites that we were. Just like, did you inspect the shoes of the worker? Because it could be soiled, it could be, did you advise the people that you need to make sure that it's free from oil and free from mud? This kind of the, awareness, simple ones, that will save the guy from having an accident.
You mentioned that we can only use a ladder for light and work that is not long enough for a short period of time only, right? So the option will be to use a mobile elevated work platform, right? So when working in a mobile elevating work platform, where should you attach the harness or the lanyard?
uh, on the handrail, on the top rail, mostly. But if it goes to the highest point of the like the scissor lift, no, if you can secure yourself out of the, out of the cage of the working platform, I think that's much better. Provided it is safe, and then you can be rescued, because what if the rapid access or the scissor lift collapse? So you will end up having a guy, just like what happened one day in Burud's Petrochemicals, where people were hooked on the top rail, and they were working at heights. It's like on the mobile scaffolding, no? It's an aluminum scaffold, and then they were pushing the scaffolding, and then people is on top. So it was hooked, and then it collapsed, and then you see now how tricky it could be, So always, like I say, common sense, where you will hook and how you hook it, because at the end of the day, it's your life that can be affected.
So in this scenario, an anchor point is really very important, right?
Yeah.
Um, One of the activities that are being implemented, bro, is working in a roof, right?
Mhm.
That is considered also work at heights. So
Absolutely.
especially if you are being instructed to do work in a fragile roof, no? When is it safe to cross a fragile roof, bro?
Actually, when you say it's fragile, then you don't cross. um, I had an experience in Dubai Industrial City that time as well. No, normally it should be, as much as possible, there should be no gap on the. Normally there will be a safe working platform. As much as possible, there should be no gap, and it should be as close as possible. Then for roof work, I also had an experience with that. No, Management are in a hurry, and then before you erect the steel frame, CBI, Chicago Bridge and Iron, way back in the airport, has done it very professionally. They have to have the lifeline in place before they lift those, the dome of the airport. They will put now the lifeline, and then they have to have anchored the lifeline. So once they have to erect the roof now, then it's already there. This kind of commitment now. But at the end of the day, you will experience contractors who really are not aware, and then they will install the roof sandwich panels, and then if you don't have the lifeline or the full restraint, then you should have a safety net. And by municipality would require as well, like inspection and third party, as best practice load test to ensure that the safety net is can withhold the weight of the person. So those kind of things.
You know, there was one time when I attended a convention there in Abu Dhabi, and they showed a film on working at heights, and I was really impressed with the precautionary measure of those who are working in a fragile roof, because they instructed people to cross the fragile roof, but the crawling board and with a handrail, so it's really safe. And I was really impressed, but not all companies, or not all constructions companies are actually doing it. But since they are into training as well, they did it using the crawling board when crossing the fragile roof. Bro, I have one concern. What is the best way to stop people falling through voids, holes, or fragile roof panels?
Actually, first and foremost, you should have like what we say, safe system of work now, like the safe access and egress, and then you should have like a safe working platform already in place. What they say, safety in design. Especially, have you seen the one in Mall of Emirates now? The dome part over there now. So a safe system of work is like having a safe working platform where people can be uh, stationed when they are doing the maintenance. So this kind of things should be there. If not, then you should have to have lifelines where people will be attached, ensuring that they will not fall, and then another backup could be there, like a safety net. So this kind of things you should always consider, because if something happens, then the investigator, the police will really look into the nitty-gritty of the things.
What is the best way to protect people below a scaffold from falling tools and materials?
In my experience, no, you should isolate the area where people are working at heights now. Then you have to ensure that they have a tow board in place. If it's under construction, then scaffolders normally have a tool belt, and then whatever tools they will need, it should be in a bucket. No, then they have to lift it up with a rope. But in reality, like I say, if people are being forced to be in a hurry, and then it changes the playing field, and then you will see people taking shortcuts, and then with that, accidents can really happen. I've seen a lot.
You know, every activity that most people are engaged, especially in the construction industry, we normally conduct risk assessment before any activity, right? Let's be specific. When making a risk assessment for work at heights activity, what suitable control measures should be in place?
Actually, first of all, you need to really identify the hazards. Because how can you assess the risk if you neglect or fail to identify the hazards that you foresee, And then with that, you will now plan for the necessary materials and like the logistics that you will need to carry out the job safely. So it really boils down to management commitment and then the provisions that you give to the workers. That includes also the training and then giving the time to train and then monitoring if they are complying with what you tell them to do.
Am I working at heights if I'm walking up and down a staircase at work? Is that considered work at heights, bro?
No, they say it's not. But if I look at it and then say, for example, you're carrying something already as part of the work, then there is also a risk of fall. And then, like I say, expect for the unexpected. You will see a lot of accidents that you think will not be there, but it happened. You get my point.
I'm supposed to ask this question when you mentioned scaffold earlier, but sometimes I have memory lapses. So now that I remember, ladders are used to access scaffolds, right? Can I
Yes.
use any type of ladders for that purpose?
Not really, not any type of ladder. But see, depends where you are, no? But on a scaffolding, you cannot use a ladder. Or if you are in the oil and gas industry where there's a risk of spark, they had restricted us to use aluminum ladders when we are offshore. Because if it falls, it can, create a spark. So we end up using like wooden ladders. Um, Normally, it's just like the aluminum ladders that is available. Depends on the, on the project that you are in.
How often do we check and inspect fall protection equipment?
It should be daily before use by the user, um, and by the competent person, like at least monthly. But you should train your workers how to inspect the fall protection system. In fact, given the work that they have, they should be more of an expert already and ensuring that the fall protection system is safe because it's where their lives rely on.
20 years working in the field of health and safety is more than enough for you to give us advice, bro. What are the safety tips that you can give for working at heights?
Actually, as much possible, avoid working at heights. No, if you can eliminate the work at height, then you have to do it, and then you have to ensure that a safe system of work is there, like a safe scaffolding platform, and then like the MEWPs, because that would be more efficient in carrying out the work. Then you select the right PPE for the job. Not only some companies, they tend to save money. They will just buy safety belt. And as per the Dubai Municipality Technical Guidelines, it still says there. I think they need to revise it because as per OSHA requirement, no, in 1998 they banned safety belts already. But here in Dubai, people tend to call it safety belt. All are safety belt. So um, be mindful of the distance where you will fall. No, that's one of the things that people should take into consideration. Um, just like in the hospital setting, it's only like a one point 6 meter, 6 meter, and then that's why you see in the hospitals you will see handrails on the on the bed. Um, Determine the anchor points where you will secure yourself because that's where your life depends on. No. Um, Lastly, prepare for emergencies and always have a contingency plan in case your emergency response plan doesn't work. So what are you gonna do? So the last thing is to train your guys and create awareness. Siguro takutin mo na sila so that they become always mindful of their work.
We'd like to greet those who are watching Mehdi Lebib, Arvin Paul Sr., Rudy Corpus, and still watching us, Teresa Binghai, the author of Coming Down from the Lockdown. We don't have questions from the audience, bro. I think they're satisfied with your explanation. Any parting words, bro, for joining us tonight?
Thank you so much for the opportunity and for sharing. I pray that safety professionals will not, be discouraged, especially when they have accidents in their work site. And then you need to always have to be, like the beacon of the light in there because in the construction, it's a different ball game. So people will push you around, people will not listen to you, but you have to take your stand, no, and never waver in helping and continuing to prevent accidents because the reason why you're there is that you have a duty and work to do. That's why you're there.
Okay, I guess that's about it for our safety talk for tonight. In behalf of Tatak Pinoy Loud and Proud, ito po si Kabayan Rico, nagpapasalamat for those who are watching us. And please share this video so that other safety officers will learn. Other HSE practitioners can also add something to their stock knowledge. So, bro, maraming salamat for joining us. And don't forget, by the way, joining us next week, si Mr. Don Bianca of BSSP, who will talk about excavation safety. That is next week. So thank you, bro, for joining me again. For those who are watching us tonight, maraming salamat po for joining Safety Talk with Kabayan Rico of the Tatak Pinoy Loud and Proud. And please share the video. Let's share the knowledge to other safety practitioners. And I am looking forward to see you next week with Mr. Don Bianca of PSSP to discuss ang ganda ng topic natin, excavation safety. I guess that's about it for tonight. This is Kabayan Rico saying thank you for watching and good night, and end your day with a prayer and start your day with a prayer.